Behind me sits one of the most successful Jaguars of all time, which is quite interesting when you consider upon introduction, no one really knew what to think of it. Hello and welcome to the Jaguar XJS. It was the mid-1970s. Jaguar's ever-legendary E-Type was aging rapidly and nearing the end of its lifespan. Its competitors were far more advanced and modern, and Jaguar needed to think on its feet to come up with a replacement. This is what they came up with. In coupe form, the XJS was received to very mixed opinions. You see, the Jaguar E-Type had been this elegant, sports-focused coupe or open-top roadster, and the XJS had come in as a rather unusual, interestingly styled Grand Tourer. People were questioning Jaguar, but by 1996 it had been their longest running model and one of the most successful of all time. Maybe they did know what they were doing. Today I've got the keys to this. It's a Litre roadster hailing from one of the final few years before production ended in 1996. It's a 5.3 litre V12 open top roadster, and we're going to have a little bit of a look around it, under the bonnet, inside, outside, and then we're going to take it out on the road and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think. So let's get into it. Introduced in 1975, the XJS was available exclusively in coupe form, but buyers longed for that open-top experience. Jaguar sort of listened and introduced the XJS-C, a targa-top variant of the XJS, and then finally caving in and giving buyers what they really wanted, an open-top roadster like we see here today. The difference being with this, the open-top roadster, you have just two seats. Apart from that, the XJSs were relatively similar styling-wise from 1975 right the way up to 96. There were a few styling tweaks here and there, headlights, tail lights, that sort of thing, but this iconic shape remained as you see it here. It's under the bonnet where most XJSs vary from one another, though it wasn't until 1983 that these were available with different engines. Up until then, they all had this, the 5.3 litre V12. A very good engine in its own right with a good level of power delivery and around 291 brake horsepower from the factory. However, post 1983, these cars were available with a 3.6 litre straight six, known as Jaguar's AJ6 engine. Though this was reduced in power to around 221 brake horsepower, it was perfectly adequate for a car like this and opened the model up to a wealth of new clientele and really boosted sales. The 3.6 remained a popular model until 1991 when it was upgraded from a 3.6 to a 4 litre straight six, one of the most popular engine choices for the XJS. Following that, in 1992, Jaguar went a little bit crazy and introduced the XJRS, which had around 300 brake horsepower and a 6 litre V12. But those are few and far between and highly collectible. The cabin, as one would expect of a Jaguar from this era, is a very lovely place to be. High quality upholstery, a good level of fit and finish, and generally well appointed. You've got lashings of wood finish trim. It's just a slab of old England, shall we say. This being the roadster, we only have two seats, and instead back here we have a storage box for many things. In coupe form, you get rear seats back here. Now, they are on the cramped side. I wouldn't want to do a long journey in them, though I could just about shoehorn myself in the back if needed. Opening the roof is really no bother at all. I've got two latches either side of me, which I pull down like that, and that makes sure the handbrake's on, and then electric motors do the rest of the work. It's quite quick. You've just got to remember the handbrake has to be on, otherwise it will not operate, and that's caught me out a few times. So I've put the roof up in the interest of wind noise, and we're on the road with the XJS. You really can't help but feel that at this point, these very late XJSs, especially with these, the 5.3 V12s, are a little bit ancient and outdated. This was an old engine, and there's no getting around that. It does feel a little bit cumbersome and just past its best, shall we say. Obviously, the XK8 replacement wasn't far off being introduced, and you really do feel almost like Jaguar had given up on this car. If I was going to get a later XJS, it definitely would be one of the 6-cylinder variety or one of those rare 6 litre cars. That being said, it does get along the road quite nicely. It's not a quick car, but it's a wonderful Grand Tourer. There is power there if you need it, and it can sit up with modern traffic in modern speeds. The auto box is smooth and handles the power well, and road holding is good. It's not brilliant, but it is an XJS rather than something a bit more track or performance focused. You want this car to be a little bit on the softer side, and it does do that well. We're not on the smoothest of roads, but it still provides a very, very comfortable ride. This being a Grand Tourer, I'd expect nothing less, especially a Jaguar Grand Tourer. Cabin noise is very, very quiet. With the roof up, there's nothing in the way of bluster or wind noise. It's quiet, it's comfortable. I mean, I'm doing about 50 miles an hour now, and you wouldn't really know. I could be doing 10 or 15 miles an hour. You're not fighting over wind and road noise to have a conversation or to be heard. It's a car that really overcame the odds, this XJS. I mean, as I said earlier in the video, when this was introduced, people really weren't so sure about it. And by this point in production, it was well established as a very, very good, one of the all-time greats, perhaps, of the Jaguar lineup. When you do put your foot down, it does deliver power in a very, very linear way. You don't get a great thundering, obnoxious V12 engine note, but I don't think you'd want that in something like this. It just gets up and does its job. The long distance London to Paris motorway runs are where this car really excels. As much as it's capable of being an everyday city car, it really isn't as comfortable or as in its element there as it is when you get up into the bigger speeds. It's a hard car to compare to an E-Type. I know it was the direct replacement, but they just feel in entirely different realms. Now compare this to the Jaguar XK8, and I think I would probably have an XJS instead. I've driven both, and I can't help but feel this has a little bit more character and a little bit more fun about it. An unsung hero that overcame the skeptics in a 20-year-long production run. It got Jaguar out of a real bind and opened them up to a wealth of new buyers. The XJS is an incredibly significant model, and I can't help but respect it for that. I would have one myself. I've really enjoyed my time with this one today, but I would go for a 6-cylinder variant. It's still a good performer and a fun driver, but you get a little bit more economy, reliability, and ease of maintenance. That being said, the 5.3 V12 is a very good engine, and it does suit the XJS nicely. I just feel like in the later cars, it feels a little dated and perhaps even a bit cumbersome. This car is a wonderful slab of old England, as I said earlier. It's a traditional quintessential Jaguar, perhaps one of the last. A lot of people say that what followed the XK8 was a bit too modern, technical, and didn't have that core Jaguar value. Was this the last of the breed? Perhaps. I think they provide tremendous value for money at their current price point and are a very good buy in the used market. Parts are readily available, and there's a wealth of enthusiast backing behind these. You could comfortably use one of these every day, but it is very much at home on a long run from London to Le Mans or something like that. The XJS, it gets my vote.